name is Ron Dean. I'm a small business owner. We have a construction and architecture firm in Chicago. A little bit about our health insurance story as a small business owner basically starts with the fact that originally the firm didn't buy health insurance, just provided an allowance for employees. And then as grew a little and my personal family wanted to grow, we wanted to have a family. We started to look at what options for maternity coverage and such, and for a family would cost. And looking at individual plans, it turns out, at least at the time we looked in Illinois, the individual plans didn't cover maternity, or if they did, it wasn't until after a 12-month waiting period. We talked with insurance agents. Their advice was that, well, you should just wait and hold off on starting a family, or you should game the system where you should not start for 3 months and then you pay for the prenatal care yourself, but then wait till the birth, and that'll be covered at the 9-month point. And this whole complicated system of how to arrange for health care for a young family. And that just was not only uncomfortable, but kind of difficult to understand why we were being penalized when we wanted to start a family. You know, people who've gone that route, and if all works well, maybe the baby costs $20,000 in expenses or something, but if it doesn't, you can be stuck with a huge expense. There are million-dollar babies, as they call them, that can cost a fortune and make you personally bankrupt. So we didn't want to end up with that situation, so we looked at joining together to form a group for the company. And that was almost a 7 or 8 month process in order to get that established, because of all the different policies we had to look at and what would cover what, and the expenses. The costs were pretty large. The quotes would usually be all right, but then when they'd go to underwriting, they'd come back and say, well, because you have young people, women who are probably going to have children, the prices would go up after underwriting. So another felt like kind of just all the young men were fine, but the young women weren't, and it just was awkward because we're a young company. We don't have older people with other health problems, so it seemed a little unfair that we had to be paying thousands of dollars a month for healthy people. We did end up finally picking a policy with Unicare and used them for just over a year until last fall, when Unicare announced via the Chicago Tribune that they were leaving the state of Illinois market, and apparently they decided they couldn't make money here and we're going to leave everyone hanging. So, long story short, we ended up with them offering us Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is good in a sense. I'm glad we're still covered as a group, but the policy is costing more, and now at the rate it's going, it seems like there's going to be no other choice in the state of Illinois but Blue Cross Blue Shield for small business group plans, which is a little scary to me as it's in terms of the market standpoint. What are the choices? If there's only one choice, what do they offer? What do they demand in terms of from us as the purchaser, from the doctors and hospitals, and price controls? And I just would like a more open and a larger market to choose from, and an option for prices to go down instead of up. Several years we've had the group plan, every year 30% increase. So it's a big chunk of small businesses' operating revenue, especially with cash flow tight with the recession. There are times when that's the biggest expense that goes out every month, as much or more than rent at times. So that's our story, and it's frustrating. It's the most difficult thing to worry about as a small business owner, I think. I'd rather have less worries about getting work and getting jobs done than making sure we can pay that insurance bill every month.
My name is Dan Pine, and I am a small business owner in Chicago. We have a small software company that provides an application to higher education institutions, and our company has certainly suffered from a 22% increase in healthcare premiums this year. That is a significant hit for a small business, especially given these economic times. that we're dealing with. So it just adds a little more strain to the daily operations of things like cash flow and just keeping the bills and in particular the salaries paid. When we were looking at our options, when we were notified about the 22% increase, we didn't have a whole lot of options in terms of what would be best for the employee, HMO versus PPO, or what the amount of the deductible would be. It all ended up being, if we were to increase the deductible to, essentially doubling it, or in some cases quadrupling it, then there would still be an increase in cost. So there was no way effectively for us to avoid having a healthcare cost. And in our company, one of the main benefits we feel very strongly about providing the best kind of healthcare benefits that we can to our employees. So we really don't feel like we have a lot of choices, and the contracts come up for renewal once a year, so it's not like we can even lock into a long-term contract. And so yes, this has constituted a net negative impact on our bottom line. And I just don't see generally where the support is for small businesses. If it's out there, I certainly hear about it on the television, on the radio, in news articles. I hear talk about help for small businesses, especially as it concerns healthcare, but I haven't heard of any existing program that could potentially help us.